I feel striking a balance in horror games is important. On the one hand, you have games that get frustrating as the odds get stacked against you, and on the other, you have games that stop being scary because you get too powerful. Then there are games that are so scary they alienate an entire demographic of pussies. Not me. I'm Pliskin, and today we're talking about different types of spooky games. What do BioShock, Resident Evil 7, and 343 Guilty Spark have in common? Everything can be solved with a pump-action shotgun. Here you have terrifying atmospheres that slowly make you realize how fucked you really are, as one horrifying revelation after another begins to break down the walls of your psyche. Pure dread. Then all of a sudden you get a shotgun and you see your enemies bleed, the tables turn and you start to dominate the oppressive atmosphere. This method of slowly gaining the upper hand is awesome as the horror stays fresh and well paced. It has an introduction, a climax, and a moment where you get to say, enough. This provides for good quality scares followed by one of the greatest feelings of accomplishments you'll ever have while playing games. Some games just don't know when to let up. For some, this is a good thing. For others, like me, it's frustrating. Think Slender, when you can never overcome the stalking threat. You are constantly running and helpless. Hell, most wins are sheer chance. Or take Alien Isolation, which has you overcome some enemies but has the xenomorph ready and waiting to put your cocky ass back into the bitch seat. Maybe this one's unfair since the xenomorph is the scariest thing ever to me, but still, the constant scares frustrate me more so than scare me after a while. For some, frustrating isn't the right word. Instead, they say that the challenge just changes, but I'm gonna call it frustrating. Fact of the matter is, the same thing over and over again can only be so scary so many times. The best example of this would perhaps be the recently repopularized FNAF series. Now, the pizzeria was originally back in 2015-2014 the scariest place on the internet, and many shat their pants, including myself, when these animatronics jumped at you for the first time. But as you get used to the gameplay loop and you reach night 5, you realize this is just a matter of reflexes. It's not necessarily a survival horror game. And the jump scares stop being jump scares after a while. You can only get excitable from the same thing so many times. So they just become punishments and it just becomes a game about stressing out about your timing. And that, honestly, I can't figure out anything better than to call frustrating. Now, this last category is truly terrifying. The game that keeps you off your toes and surprises you over and over. You make progress, but you are never powerful. Your foes don't dominate you or stop you. You push past them, but they haunt you, even after you play the game. The same goes for the environment and music. It's just scary. Silent Hill is synonymous with horror. Many a YouTuber has done many a video essay about Silent Hill 2's enduring horror, 3's unique set-piece horror, and of course the urban legend that is now known as Silent Hills, or the cancelled PT game. These games are true horror. If you want to know why, do a quick YouTube search, and you'll find hours worth of elegantly written explanations. I'm not going to pretend like I'm worthy to do these games justice. Instead, I'll say this. Silent Hill, as a series, with a few exceptions, is a perfect simulation that triggers genuine fear. If you want a true horror experience, look no further than this. Is genuine horror for everyone, though? No. There are ways to handle this to appeal to wider audiences. You have the shotgun method or the, shock value or the initial scare value that can get higher sales and get more players invested. However, the fact that Silent Hill is scary and non-traditional to the point where it does poorly in sales isn't necessarily a bad thing. If anything, games like Silent Hill 2 are worshipped because of their cult status. If they were widespread successes like COD, they'd be forgotten. For example, think about how many people talk about Alien Isolation now. That was all the rage back in the day. How many, well, I mean, people are talking about FNAF in memes, but you understand what I'm saying. If something appeals to a wider audience, it's more likely to get replaced sooner. And that is what I attribute Silent Hill 2's enduring legacy to. That these games are so scary that they stay scary. They keep this cult status. It takes a certain person to play them over and over again and enjoy them. Not the type of person that just picks up your annual COD game. Not that I have anything against COD, but I hope I'm getting my point across here. Some games are so scary to the point where they become art, and that is why they endure forever. However, for someone like me, I would always pick up something like Resident Evil 7 or Dead Space 2 before I'd grab Silent Hill, because I like more of that. I take control of the situation, I have some way to fight back, and the threat is very tangible and feasible. However, for some people, they want something that makes them think, that makes them reflect on everything. It's kind of like the feeling of finishing a show or movie and you just kind of sit there and you reflect on your life. And these games that are that scary, they do that. And Silent Hill 2 is a perfect example of that. So I hope you enjoyed this little talk about horror and games, and just, I guess, the little meta narrative here at the end, where I kind of go into what makes something enduring. Anyways, guys, this has been Pliskin. Let me know what you think about horror games in the comments down below, and what are some of your favorites. Over and out.